series has been around since October 2024, a time when I was, admittedly, even a year after the game's release, still learning how everything worked. And so what that means is that in quite a few places, there are districts that are just boring. Not that there's anything really wrong with them exactly, but they're just sort of uninspired. They're grids. It's rows of the same buildings over and over again. Now, that's not to say that I want to bulldoze everything that was built before this series came back, but I do think that's worth thinking about, and I do think that's something worth talking about. What's worth keeping and what's worth deleting? I'm not really too sure, but one thing I do know for sure is that if you were hoping I wasn't gonna bulldoze entire city blocks, well, I hope you're sitting comfortably. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Cities Skylines II. And welcome back to Columbia County. So before we dive into today's major project, which might very well be the biggest project I've ever done in Cities Skylines 2, there have been a couple of changes to not necessarily Columbia County, but to Armadillo and this retail park since the last episode, and I want to talk to you about those before we basically go and bulldoze half of Blackwater. Now, you might have spotted these already, but we now have some apartments in the suburbs around the retail park. This is something that was suggested in the comments of the last episode as a way to sort of hide the retail park a little bit, and I think it's also just a great way to get a little bit of extra density in here and also get just a little bit more verticality into the suburbs as well. I've extended some surfaces, I've done some extra detailing. I love how these look. I think it was a fantastic idea, and it is something that I wouldn't have done without your feedback. So if you do ever have any feedback for anything I ever do in Cities Skylines 2 or any series or any video on the channel, do remember to leave a comment down there beneath the like button and the other button. You know what button I'm talking about. Now, another little something that you might have spotted in the background is McDonald's. I have, obviously, with Home Depot and Whole Foods and Target and Costco and IKEA and so on, got some real-life brands in Columbia County. There's also some trucks going around with UPS logos and FedEx logos, and there's a couple of real-life or real brand cars that I have going around as well. So this doesn't necessarily feel too out of place, but this is something that I added based, again, on your feedback. There were some suggestions that maybe getting some fast food places in here would be a good idea, and in my experience with every retail park that I've been to, it's usually a McDonald's, sometimes a Pizza Hut, sometimes a Burger King, sometimes multiple, but it's usually a McDonald's. And then finally, I decided to make just a couple of changes to the middle of Armadillo. Specifically, the space on the left, all of those Old Town buildings are new, which is weird. Old, new, whatever, Old Town buildings that are, you know what I mean. They were just added between episodes because I kind of wanted to enclose the train station a little bit and surround it with these Old Town buildings. Again, just to sort of make it feel like this has all been here for a little bit longer than it realistically has been. And so I guess that is probably us done with Armadillo for the time being. We will be coming back here. I do want to get more suburbs around Armadillo. I want to do a little bit more development in Armadillo, and at some point I would love to rebuild our entire transport network, both in Armadillo and in Blackwater. But speaking of Blackwater, we have some serious work to do. Because as controversial a decision as this might be, I am going to start the process of completely leveling both Strawberry and Rhodes, moving all of the services out of those spaces, moving all of our buses and our bicycle stops and our post boxes out of those spaces, getting rid of all of the buildings and all of the zoning and just everything that we could possibly have going on in here. It is all going away because I think, and I want to stress, I want to stress the word think. I think I can make a really cool space out of this entire area. This is actually one of the first spaces that was ever built in Columbia County. We're not too far away from kind of the original things that I ever built on this map. And so it's a little bittersweet to be getting rid of this, but at the same time, it is just a big old grid. It's not really all that detailed. It's not really all that interesting to look at. And we actually do have quite a bit of demand for, well, low density residential is one, and I'm not really doing them any favors by getting rid of all of this low density residential. But we also have a ton of demand for medium density and high density residential. And that's going to be a bit of a challenge for Blackwater and for Columbia County because I don't want skyscrapers. Not really. I'm okay with some tall buildings, but for the most part, I kind of want to avoid having skyscrapers in here. So this is going to be very, very interesting. It's also really, really weird going through and getting rid of all of these buildings, but it's necessary and it's going to be good. I hope. I'm just trying to not delete the train station. Although I will say that train station is also going away. We're going to build a new one. We're going to elevate the tracks and we're going to completely transform this part of the, oh, it's so weird looking at that. It's so weird looking at that. I should mention, actually, all of these buildings here as well, they're all going away, although I do need to de-zone all of this as well. And again, this is some of the earliest stuff that we ever built in all of Columbia County. So again, this is really, really weird. It's such a weird thing to be doing, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm nervous, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be okay. I think I can make this work. And if I can't, you will never see this episode anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And there we go. It's all been cleared and it looks so strange. Oh, I don't love that at all. I mean, I do. I'm looking forward to what we can do here, but it's so weird just having this big empty chunk of land again. It's been a while since I've built anything out here or anything to this scale because I'm going to try and build, well, I'm going to try and build all of this today. No promises that I'm finishing this entire thing in one episode, but I will certainly try. What we do need to do is purchase this tile just so I can get access to that little corner of the river bank that we didn't have before. And then what I need to do, and this is the weird part, this is the exciting part, but it's also the weird part, is I need to go in here and I need to get rid of this train station. It just needs to go. So the train station is going away and everything else in that block also kind of needs to go away. So I want to get rid of the trees. We'll get this a slightly smaller brush here and just start clearing out all of this. And then while we're here, we kind of need to get rid of this road and we kind of need to get rid of a good chunk of this highway back here because what have we got underground there? That's going to be some power cables. Can I tidy this up at all? Can I get rid of you and then get rid of you? We absolutely can. Okay, that's fine. This bit of track can also, in fact, we can bring this right back across the river is what we can do. And then when it comes to a new train station in here, I've been kind of going through everything and weighing up all of my options. And on one hand, I would love to go for something huge like this central train station. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. We have the Mediterranean station, which is amazing, but it is a terminus station. We have some sunken stations as well, which are very interesting, and we could sort of connect them up to this junction. But my attention has been drawn to the elevated bypass train station, which looks a little something like this. And I think that's pretty good, especially with it being elevated. I think we can do some good here. And I think we can also upgrade this guy with maybe some island platforms. I think we could do some bus stops in there. I think we could do a subway interface, although I don't know if Blackwater is the type of place that's going to have a subway interface. but that's okay. Also a whole lot of XP coming through for a bunch of buildings being built. That's interesting. Okay. Not really too sure what's going on there, but that's fine. Let's go ahead then and get rid of the train tracks that are on this road. This is, again, one of the earliest things that we did in all of Blackwater. This was like a big selling feature of Blackwater at one point, but we just don't need it anymore. It's kind of that simple. We just don't need it, and that's okay. What we can do is go the entire way down here and just replace that entire road with a regular 2-lane road, and basically every building that's on that road is going to be fine, which is great. We aren't really going to lose too much by doing this. We can bring this train line right back and all the way out to here for now, which is outside of my build area, but I don't really mind too much that I'm going to have to change some things there. I think this farm is going to have to go away, and I'm going to just let you know right now, there's going to be a whole lot of bulldozing, a whole lot of things. I need to move the entire transit authority. This farm is probably going to have to go. This farm is probably going to have to go. This farm will probably be fine. This one might not be. I'm not really too sure. Even this one is ultimately, honestly, gonna go as well, because I just don't really need it anymore. Well, no, I say I don't need it. I probably do need it. I just don't want it there anymore. We're kind of taking over all of this land, and I'm not sorry. I'm nervous, but I'm not sorry. Anyway, let's figure out this train connection. Let's see if we can get this thing reconnected and get things running again as quickly as possible. We want to bring this guy out. We want to get our guidelines, and we just want to line this up as best we possibly can with that station. Now, do I want to come straight through, or do I want to just maybe bring a little bit of track out of the station first? I feel like we can just come straight out of there. I just need my angles to be good, and I think that's about right. 180 degrees in the left is good. The line's going right into the middle of the track over there on the right, so I think we can just do a little something like that. And does that look okay? I think it does. I think there is definitely a world in which I might have to elevate this train track at some point if we ever do boats, but for now, I think that's okay. And then on this side, I guess what we want to do is just sort of run it straight through everything. So just all the way down here. This is exactly, oh, this is going to be good. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. We just want to run it the entire way down here, and it's going to be elevated the entire way through Blackwater. We'll turn off Anarchy just to clear out some of those trees. I'll have to get rid of some more of them, but that's fine. That looks pretty good to me. I mean, it's up off the road. We're not going to have cars getting stopped by trains and trains getting stopped by cars, which is what we're looking for. And you know, I think I'm going to go ahead and just bulldoze this entire section of train line, just right back to about there, should be fine. And we'll just sort of redo the entire connection by shifting things over a bit. So from here, let's drop this down to ground level. I want to say 2.7%. That's probably a decent enough grade for a train line. I think we can just go straight through. We will need Anarchy for this, but we can just cut straight through here, all the way through all of these fields. I will probably want to redo some of those surfaces at some point, but I'm not really too concerned about it. We'll go to, I think there's probably pretty good. And if we get some guidelines, we can just reconnect all of this, and there we go. In theory, if I was to run things, well, not just yet, but if I was to reconnect these train lines and then run things, in theory, we will now find ourselves in a spot where this is all up and running, which is fantastic, and I kind of love that. That's pretty good. I think that's a good station. There's a lot of detailing that needs done around it, but that's a really good looking station. Now, I should probably stress that the train track's not the only thing that's going to get elevated. This little highway going through here is going to go away because we're going to elevate the highway as well. And we're going to have, can you hear the nervousness in my voice? We're going to have a couple of intersections that bring people into Blackwater. And I'm hoping that they're going to be good intersections. Now, what I'm going to have to do is, I guess, get rid of this little connection to that road. We are kind of interrupting some buildings here as well, which is gonna happen. I'm relatively sure this entire block, which I love the detailing here. This is something I did so long ago, but this is gonna have to go, I'm pretty sure, based on what I'm gonna be trying to do. Because what I'm trying to do is use a bunch of these intersections in here. Because let me tell you, I can't build them to save myself. I just can't. I have tried so many times and it just doesn't work. I am not good at building intersections in city skylines. I want to learn at some point. I don't know when that some point's going to be, but I would love to learn. What I'm going to do for now is just use this intersection right about here. And I want it right there because it's lined up perfectly with this avenue. And so my thought process is that maybe if I use a little bit of move it and we grab some nodes, we grab some roads, we grab some segments, we do our thing, lower all of that down to the height of that road, bulldoze this part. I'm kind of hoping I can connect this together in a way that's going to be functional and that's going to be useful for people getting in and out of the city. This is going to be one of potentially 3, maybe 2 connections. I'm not really too sure how many we're going to have, but that's my idea. That's kind of how I want this to be. We are going to need to do a little bit of work over here to tidy this up because I'm not really too sure what's gone on there. That's not ideal. But I think with just a little bit of move it, I can maybe get away with this. It's going to be a little steep in a couple of places, but I think we can do this. I think we can make this work. I think we can level this out. It might honestly be easier for me to just sort of redo this entire middle section here as well, just to really tidy that up. But my hope is that with a couple of cheeky little connections to the city here, we can maybe start to take traffic away from this road over here, which is always really busy, and start to sort of take it not around Blackwater, because this is going to be very firmly in the middle of Blackwater, but this is hopefully going to work out. I'm really hoping for some good things here. I'm also loving the fact that I can kind of keep my train tracks up and above all of this, so we can just go ahead and reconnect from there to there. And now we have the train tracks going over this highway section. I've also managed to keep this, I realize, which means I can keep this road over here as well, which I don't necessarily know I need to do, but I don't think it would hurt to keep that at least for now. It's probably not the best place to have that intersection, but I don't mind that right now. I'm kind of okay with that right now. This junction's kind of messy looking. I think I might redo this road. And I think I might just take those bus stops off of it for now, just to avoid any complaints. But I think if we just bulldoze you, we go in, we replace that road, and hopefully tidy up the junction a little bit. Does that look any better? No, that corner is still a little bit ugly looking. Maybe node controller can save me on this one. If we just sort of straighten things out, no, that did not do it. Let's undo that. Let's bring the red one back a little bit. That actually does kind of work. That does tidy it up a little bit and make it more of a gradual curve around there, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Now, one thing I will say is that I'm not wanting to get rid of this elementary and high school combo that we have in here, mostly because these surfaces are such a pain. There's like so many surfaces going on. I know it looks all like one, but there's like so many different segments of so many. I mean, it's all the same surface. It's just a pain. I just like it. I like how it looks. I like the parking lots. I like the soccer field, the football field, whatever you want to call it. It's football. Anyway, I like how this looks. So we're not going to be getting rid of that. What I think I could do is put an intersection here and then somehow, some way creatively get people off of this down into everywhere else. Part of me is also tempted to just kind of bite the bullet and bring this highway back a little bit so we can have the intersection almost line up with this section of road, so it's much closer to the train station. But at the same time, this is kind of more of a major road here, so having some connections that maybe come off of this guy to that major road that cuts right through the middle of the city might not be a bad idea, especially since this part of the highway is also connecting to a major avenue that connects to a major roundabout that again connects to all the major parts of the city. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what way to line this thing up just yet. I haven't fully decided. I don't know that I'm going to. I kind of think I don't know. Do I want the highway to cut straight through? That's the other thing. We could have the highway sort of weave a little bit, and that might look more interesting once everything's built up around it, if the highway kind of makes some twists and turns here and there. But I think because I know my work is cut out for me today, I think we're just going to do this. And I think I'll figure out a way to sort of connect this all up and make it look interesting in a little bit. What I will do is lower all of this down. I think that could be a good idea. So put this down to ground level, and that might make it a little bit easier to connect everything up a little bit later on. And so I guess now is as good a time as any to figure out what these connections are all going to look like. I haven't really thought too much about this part where we start to bring it all together, but I'm hoping we end up with something that looks kind of neat. So that's ultimately the goal here. Let's try, I don't know what distances we're working with here, but let's try this. Let's try going to about there. And does that look okay? I don't hate it. We might need to play with the elevations a little bit. In fact, thinking about it, I probably want the highway to roughly be all about the same height the entire way across this island, or I say island, this bit of land, this side of the river, because we are probably going to run some roads underneath it. So if we go to filters in Move It, we can select nodes and segments only. We want to use the marquee mode and just grab everything across to about there, bring it up to about that height. And yeah, that's going to be a little bit easier to work with. We can just hopefully, again, use Move It to kind of just nudge things up a little bit. We're going to be dealing with a slightly steeper slope here, I think, but that should be okay. I think I can make it relatively gradual as we go. And then for now, we can just go through and clear all of these trees out of here, and that should work. That should be fine. We actually have every building in this space still connected to a road. We just need to connect this guy, which is kind of the next step. Now, I think what I'll do as a bit of a temporary thing, and I'm saying temporary, there's very big quotation marks around that because this road might end up staying, but for the time being, I'm going to do just a road here, and I might just run that road straight into this road down here just to sort of see what happens, see how it turns out, and see how it goes. So yeah, we'll do that. I don't love this really steep slope that we have here, but that'll be fine. That's something we can deal with. And I guess we'll also just bring this guy out and connect it straight to there. Oh, no, that did not connect at all. Let's make sure we're using the right tool for the job. We'll go straight through to about there, take out the extra part. And honestly, for now, I think that's fine. It's obviously not going to be the long-term connection, but it will give us a connection to the city on this side. It gives us a connection down here. The last thing I'd like to do, I guess, is bring this highway right out. I want to connect it to this road, I think. And again, this is outside of my build area, my owned tiles, but I'm kind of okay with that. I think what I'm going to do is just bring this guy right back. And I'm kind of thinking maybe another intersection. I'm kind of thinking something like this guy is not going to do the job, actually. That's not even slightly close to what we're looking for. I guess what we could do is just come off the side of the train track here and get something that runs nice and parallel to that. I think that could look kind of interesting, just cutting through all of those fields, which means we will have to sort of swing the highway around here. I'm kind of okay with that. For now, let's also bring this train track out of here, and let's see if there's some way somehow that I can use this intersection again, because that would be kind of neat. I have my doubts. I've got some doubts about this. Actually, Actually, hold on now. This might be doable. I'm going to have to lower a lot of it down or potentially use a different... I could use this one if I really wanted to. I'd have to swap out a bunch of the roads to make it happen, but I think some kind of trumpet is going to be the way to go. I think we'll use this one. I'm going to have to just sort of change a bunch of the roads, but I think we can make this work, and I think this is going to be good. I think just before we get things running again, I would like to make some changes to the terrain that we have here, because I don't want all of this to be elevated. It is out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of fields, surrounded by trees. I think we can just bring the land up to some sections of this highway rather than sort of doing what we're doing with it right now. So I think a good amount of this, like here, can be brought up to, or the land can be brought up to it. I think in here, we could arguably do something similar. And then I think for this next part, we would maybe sort of do some of that just to give it like a foundation. I think that's kind of interesting looking, and I think it looks a little bit better. We can obviously sort out the land in just a little bit. Over on this side, I think kind of the same story. So I think we maybe do something like this, and then the rest of it is just going to be, again, sort of ground level the entire way through. If we get ourselves a nice slope terrain tool, go for a decent sized brush and start about here, we should be able to get a decent little slope that goes right up to the height of that highway, and then hitting it with a nice smooth terrain brush will kind of blend everything in and just make it look like it's, well, part of the terrain. You know, that's kind of what we're doing. That's kind of the point. And so ultimately we end up with a little something like this that I happen to think looks so much better than just having all these floating roads around here. I guess the last thing to do is connect this highway over here, and we should be able to run the simulation and maybe see some vehicles moving around, which is going to be very exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to this, I'm going to be honest. The distance between these 2 points is 726. So let's do a nice complex curve. Let's go about, I guess, 200 here. We can sort of rough this out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. We'll go about, I want to say 300-ish there in the middle, and then bringing this over as 230. That should be all right. Does that look okay? I think that looks okay. I mean, I don't necessarily love that it's elevated here, and I think unfortunately that means that we are going to have to say goodbye to this farm and this farm as well. Because I think all of these roads out here can kind of go away at the very least. We will try and replace these farms, but I want to do something similar here where we kind of have the terrain coming up to meet the road, because I just think it's going to look a little bit better. I don't know why. I can't really explain my thought process on this. I don't really have one, but I just think that looks a little bit better. We can again do some retaining walls. What are these? The keys, that's the one. Quays. There you go. We can do some of those and just make this all look that little bit more supported. So we'll just slope this right up to about there. We can maybe get rid of that road and that little bit of road as well, and then hit it with a good old softened terrain. And I think that is about as good as it needs to be. I think we're now at a point where I might be able to run the simulation. Does Armadillo have, I had a feeling that was going to happen. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Okay. Can I fix this? We do have a power plant out here. How is this not connected to the rest of the town? Let's go from here to there. Does that fix Armadillo? That does fix Armadillo. It doesn't fix my farms, but that's okay. That's totally fine. This is all kind of moving around, which is very exciting. I am very much a fan of this. I would kind of like to mess with the lane math around here a little bit at some point and kind of go down to single lanes through the middle, but I think for now this is okay. Obviously, you know, we're going to have some traffic over here as people figure out these new roads, but I'm quite a fan of this. I'm quite a fan of this. This is very, very cool. I'm very excited to see what we can do with this. Oh, this makes me so happy. I mean, this guy doesn't. I hate these things. I hate the road maintenance stuff. I hate how it stops and slows everything down on highways, but seeing all these vehicles on this highway makes me really, really happy. Now, I do think it might be time to try and move the Blackwater Transit Authority and get it into a bit of a better spot. So I'm going to take out all of these trees down this way. And I think I'm just going to try and rebuild it kind of down in this space. I think keeping relatively good access to the main bulk of the city, since we have kind of our main bus station over here and then our main train station over here. I don't think putting this thing out in the sticks makes all that much sense, but I do think putting it down here could be a bit of an idea. So what I'd like to do is use both the compact bus station and also or compact bus depot and also the regular bus depot that we already have, just because we sort of can. I think this might be for the best. I'm also going to use this road, Frostwood Highway, as kind of our guideline. So let me just do a little something here. Let me bring this up through. Let me, I guess, just bulldoze you for the time being. And let me just make sure that this guy does not have keys underneath it. We just want it to be a regular old dirt road for the time being. It's not that I'm going to be using dirt roads to build all of this. I just kind of want to like I said, use it as a bit of a guideline. So this guy is, I want to say, gonna live about there. I think we do a regular 2-lane road right about here. I think we swap this out for a regular 2-lane road as well. This can all sort of go away. And then the regular bus depot is gonna live about here. It's a little close to the water. We might have to do some stuff with the water there, but that's honestly not the end of the world. Maybe I should move this one down into that corner. I'm also relatively sure you can upgrade this with electric buses, which might not be the worst idea in the world. I also know you can do the same with this guy, and you can get some extra garages for some extra buses. But between these two, there's 20 vehicles in there, or 25 vehicles max, I think. I think there's like 10 out of the compact depot. So that's not necessarily the end of the world. I think we just kind of need to figure out what exactly we're going to be doing in terms of the road layout here. And honestly, this might need shifted a little bit. I don't know that I want to mess with the river too much. So actually, what if we put you there? We're really not moving this much if I do put it there, but that's maybe the point. Maybe the idea is that we're not going to move the transit authority all that much. We're just going to sort of shift it. And while we're here, we could do some taxis down this way. We do have some taxis in and around Blackwater already, but this seems like it might not be the worst idea in the world to get a little taxi depot thing down here. We could do a garage extension. We can do the dispatch thing as well. We can do the electric taxis. And I think we will maybe throw this garage extension just onto the back, maybe 2 of them, just to get a couple more taxis in there and just to fill up a bit more of that space. You can have some electric buses. You can have some electric buses. And I think you are also going to get a bit of an extension, just again to sort of fill up some space. Although back there, if I could sort of fit it in there, that would be pretty good. I can't, but it would be good. It'd be nice if it'd be nice. What about there? No, I don't like that at all. That's definitely not right. What about there? I was kind of hoping those arrows would line up with the road, but again, maybe not. Oh, now one thing we are going to have to deal with is the fact that all of my buses are heading back out for the very first time because I got rid of that original depot. That's that's okay. It's still weird to me getting rid of so much of this stuff. I'm gonna be honest. It's a really weird feeling. Also, I think this road is a little one-way road. That is not supposed to be a little one-way road. Let's just get that fixed up nice and quickly. We can get all these guys out. They're gonna filter through and do their thing, which is completely fine. But I like, why is something on fire? What is on, what, how? I mean, great response time, but I want to know how something caught on fire already. This district has just been built and someone's already managed to burn their car. That's great. It's just amazing. Anyway, I do think a little bit of detailing around here is going to be worthwhile. I don't want to go too crazy with detailing anything yet, because this is still going to be, this is going to be such a long project. Like I said way earlier, I'm going to try and put a good dent in this entire project in this one episode, but I can't promise that we're going to do all of this in a single episode. There's so much to do and so much to rebuild, but I am so looking forward to getting all of this done. I'm glad I've got started with this. I've had this idea for a little bit. This was one of the ideas that kind of brought me back to Columbia County, was like, what if I went in and sort of took everything I know about Cities Skylines II and applied it to Columbia County? What if we took apart some of those early places that I built? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember where I started Columbia County, but I'm pretty sure the second episode, I think, was around this police station. I think. I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure the second episode was like, I think in the first episode I said I wasn't going to do a ton of detailing, and then the second episode was like, I lied, I'm going to do a ton of detailing. And I think it was this area. So we really are clearing out some of the very first things that I built in Columbia County, but the idea isn't to just pave it over and turn it into an urban hellscape. I want to make it look cool. I want to make it look detailed. There are going to be urban hellscapes because they do exist. And actually that is something that there was a comment about underneath the last episode that I replied to it, but I think it's worth, bringing attention to again. Not that I have anything wrong with the comment, just I want to talk about one little thing. And I guess coming back to Armadillo to talk about this is probably for the best, because this is kind of the picture of essentially an urban hellscape. It's a big old area that's been paved and turned gray. The neighborhoods around it aren't particularly walkable. That was kind of the idea. That was the point of this space. Armadillo itself is a really nice town to look at, but in my head, it's not supposed to be that walkable. It is walkable, but it's not really supposed to be. I mean, yeah, the old town part of it here is great. I love it. I love all of the sidewalks and the details and all that stuff, and it is certainly walkable. But in my head, in the lore of Armadillo at least, everyone owns an F-150. Everyone's driving everywhere. It is an old industrial town. There's a mine on one side. There's a fuel refinery on another. There's a cargo train yard on another. There's the cargo or the train depot on the south as well. There's a power plant. Like, Armadillo is a very industrious town. It isn't supposed to be the most walkable. It is kind of supposed to be very car-centric. And also at Cities Skylines 2, it is a game that is fundamentally quite car-centric. You can make walkable spaces, but what, in my opinion, makes the game look alive is all of the cars and all of the trains and all of the buses and all the stuff that moves around. I've said it before, I will say it again. That is why I typically don't do tunnels. I want to see stuff. It's why I don't really do metro lines all that much, because I want to see the trains moving around. I don't want them buried. I want them out. I want to see them. I want to see them moving. It looks cool. And again, I just want to stress that, that comment is fine. I can't remember exactly who it was by. It is one that I replied to. It is a valid concern with Columbia County. Just like, there's a few people that were like, hey, don't bulldoze everything. Just keep building onto what you've done before. There is certainly an aspect of that. It's very tempting to go through and just bulldoze all of these row houses and just kind of update everything to sort of include the stuff that's been added to the game in the year that I wasn't playing it. I don't plan on doing that. I just kind of wanted to get rid of this entire space because it was just really boring grids of low density residential, and it's not really what we needed in Blackwater right now. So we're going to make this place look cool. That's the idea. That is the goal. I can't promise it's going to look cool, but I'm going to try. Now there is a little something that I want to try right in here between this train line and our highway. I want to bring a road straight down here, and I want to bring a road straight up to about here as well. And I want to try using some of the region pack buildings that I've never used before, because there are a few that I've really barely touched on, and that would be the Netherlands region pack. I've not really done much with it, and I kind of want to change that. So that's my goal. That's my plan. I do know that those buildings in that pack, I think, go to about a depth of, I think the biggest building in that pack is 3x3. So what I want to do is get a little sort of 6x6 space in the middle here. And then, ooh, that's not quite big enough on that side. Okay. That's probably fine, but I think the buildings in the outside of this space should be a little bit larger. So we'll go for, I guess, 5 in the middle, and that'll be okay. So we'll go to about there. We are going to go to about there, and that should be fine. I do want these one-way roads. Those are quite deliberate. So we're going to have roads going that way. We're going to have roads going that way. We are probably going to do quite a bit of grass in here, and we're going to do a bunch of trees to make the place look sort of at least a little bit more pretty than it otherwise would. And I don't love what's going on with my grid down here. I'm kind of hoping I can get away with zoning this space, because as much as I want to go in and detail it myself, and I will detail some of it, I'm also keenly aware that I have so much to build. So I'm kind of, I'm going to pick my battles is basically what I'm getting at here. I don't quite know how much of this I want to, I don't know how much of this I want to place by hand and how much of this I'm going to just absolutely not place by hand. So we're going to, it's going to be a case of figuring that out as we go. Let's do this right here. This distance is 112. So we'll go 112 to about there as well and do another little pedestrian road like so. That way everything is spaced out quite nicely. Again, sort of dealing with this weird grid down here. So I'm kind of wondering if we could go in and maybe just turn off all of the grids on this road for now. And maybe this is going to work. I'm not really too sure if this is going to work, but we're going to find out together, because we're going to go in. We are going to go to medium density residential. We're going to get the Netherlands medium density housing, and I am just going to fill this entire space with Netherlands medium density housing. And this is what I was hoping to see. This building is on a corner. It is going to be a corner building. That is kind of perfect. It's not filling the space as much as I was hoping for, but again, that's probably okay. We could maybe take out this part in the middle and turn that into some parks, which I think would be lovely. We do, of course, have some cycling through here, as we should. And I suppose it's going to be an idea to also do some trees alongside these roads as well, just to get that added a little bit of detail in there. I think I'd like to swap those out naturally for the poplar trees. I think those are going to look just a little bit better, especially if we lock the age and have them just be a little bit bigger, which is going to be fantastic. And the first buildings have started to appear. I'm very, very excited about this. I have looked at these buildings, I should mention. Like I've plopped them. I've never really zoned them. I haven't messed with them too much, but look at this corner building. That is beautiful. Oh, that's so good. This area is going to look fantastic. I'm really, I'm really excited to bring this together, especially with all that parking. It's going to look great. And they have amazing backyards. Like they are beautiful, beautiful assets. And it upsets me so much that it took me this long to start playing with them, but they do look just so good. They really, really do. They're absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some slightly wider sidewalks in here so that no one's going to be parking on on that road. I think that would be a particularly bad idea. And I guess we can detail this space in the middle. Now, what I'm thinking is I would like to use some actual parks in here just so we can actually kind of bring some people to these spaces and have them use the actual parks. So I think that would be a great idea. I think this wide pocket park in just a couple of spots around like so is probably the easiest way to do that. And I think we could also, oh, it's gravel. Oh, do I want to keep the gravel? Do I want to keep the gravel? I don't know that I do. I think I want to swap out the gravel for these clay pavers. I think they're going to look just that little bit better throughout all of this space. And I'm slightly tempted to put clay pavers underneath all of these buildings as well, just because I think it matches the vibe. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, wow. That's doing so much heavy lifting right there. That is perfect. Oh, wow. I love that. And I guess getting some nice grass in here is probably going to be a good idea. So let's go to this corner. Let's try and get 45 degrees. We'll come down to about here and we'll just start going around. So we'll have a nice little pattern on all of this grass once I get it into all of this space. And I'm kind of thinking there's one last little thing I might try and do with the clay pavers underneath the buildings. I think all these little spaces here where we have that extra bit of pavement, I think I might be able to bring it out onto that pavement and just have it feel, I don't know, a little bit more custom, a little bit more interesting. That was a good choice. I think the added bit of texture there was good. I do want to put some hedges around that, but first, I want to try this. I want to see if I can do this and then sort of bring you back, bring you out to like there, bring you to there. Does that look? It does look pretty cool. It does. I don't know if this is like perfectly lined up, but once you zoom out, you can't really tell. Oh man. This is why I came back. This is what brought me back to Cities Skylines 2. This kind of thing right here is just what genuinely excites me about this game and about these types of games. I just love it. I was thinking recently about what some of like my favorite things are in Cities Skylines 2 and like what I think some of the most significant changes and updates have been. Because, obviously like the content creator packs or the content creator packs, I think are Cities Skylines 1. The region packs, I think are what you call them in Cities Skylines 2. They are made by creators, I if I remember right. But my point being, what are some of the most sort of substantial things that have come to the Cities Skylines 2? And I've just been thinking about that a lot because there's a decent amount of stuff. There's been a decent amount of updates, and I think the game is in a much stronger place than it was, 2.5 years ago, which is great. But then I realized that for me, and I'll be honest, I would love to hear what, what's like the most significant thing that's in Cities 2 for you. But for me, weirdly, I've got to be honest, it's kind of the parking lot roads. It really, there's something about it that just makes the game feel, I don't want to use the term more real because I don't think like you can make things look realistic in Cities Skylines 2 if you really spend the time, and I generally don't. I kind of just mess around and do whatever I think looks cool at the time. But there's something about, I guess it comes back to what I said earlier about liking to see things. I like to see things out and about. I like to see my trains moving. I like to see my metro moving, just all of that stuff. I think that's kind of what it is for me. I like to see things that are busy and that make things look busy. And I think seeing all of these cars parked around makes the place look busy. It makes it look lived in. Those services were such a good shout. It makes it look lived in. It makes it look like people are, even if they're not out running around, and yes, a car sitting there is kind of just a static thing, but sort of makes it look like, yeah, there's people that live there. There's people that, you know, they park their car there. They're in their house right now. Of course they're not out and about. They're in their house. And it just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't, you know, I might be the only person that's like, yeah, the parking lots, that's the best thing that's been added to City Skylines 2. Genuinely for me, it is up there as one of like the best things that's been added to City Skylines 2, as silly as that might be. As much as I love this, I've actually just realized something. All of these buildings, because I zoned them, are gonna be able to level up. And that's good, because that means more density, more people, and that's kind of the whole point of this project, is to get more density into Blackwater and get more people into Blackwater to deal with the lack of workers, the lack of customers. But all of my surfaces are gonna get replaced as these buildings level up, and that's kind of a shame. I'm slightly tempted to freeze them, but also that feels like it's not within the spirit of what I'm trying to do here, so I'm just gonna sort of deal with the fact that I'm gonna have to probably come in here 2 or 3 times and redo those surfaces. But I love this. I love how this looks. I'm so pleased with it. And I think just because I'm a sucker for having everything sort of line up the way I want it to, I am gonna go in here and just try to get another little section of these buildings in such a way that is hopefully not gonna look absolutely terrible. Now, I wanna go for, let's see, I wanna line up specifically, not there, I wanna line up with this grid here. And I wanna bring this across to, I wanna say about that spot, and that's kind of what I wanted. I want this zoning here, because what I can then do is put a little bit of, oh, how do I want to do this? I'm going to say we do a little bit of a one-way road, and we do it here, and we just sort of just punch this. Oh, that is not going to line up, is what that's going to do. That's annoying. Okay. What about on this side? Does that line up? No. Okay. Why? Why does that not line up? That's really strange to me. I was kind of hoping I could get this to line up in such a way that I could, oh, okay. I mean, if I do here, that's not so bad, actually. That's okay. I can make that work. Right. So we do this, and we go through like this, and that doesn't mess too much with our zoning. We do the same thing on this side, and we punch to about there, and it doesn't mess with our zoning. Take out these parts, and then what I'll do is flip this road, not like that. That is not what I wanted. Flip that road around. We'll have that one sort of going out. This is now going to get changed into this kind of road, and this is basically where I'm going to build. Why is there a gap in my... Oh, that's what I was trying to avoid. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid, was the zoning getting weird like that. That is not what I want. You know, I realize I'm doing all this messing around, but actually what I could probably do is just sort of replace this road and then do all of my zoning and then do the connections, and I will probably be able to make that work. Now, we are going to have some gaps at the ends. That's okay. I'm not too worried about that. I think we just go ahead then and do our connection here. And I think we do our little sort of other connection right about here and flip it around. We want to do the wider sidewalks on this side. I think I want to do some grass on this side, and I think we do some wider sidewalks just in these spaces as well. And those buildings should just persist. They should be fine, even though the zoning is going to be a little bit messed up. And the reason I wanted to do that is so that when we look down these streets, it is just going to be nicely enclosed. That's literally the only reason that I'm doing this. It's just for that little aesthetic touch. At this end of things, I'm not really too sure what to do. I might try and just have like a little kind of like little Netherlands district in here between the train line and the highway. So I might try and fill this space with some of those buildings. I'm not really too sure how that's necessarily going to work, but I guess that's part of the fun and part of the challenge. So let's figure out if that's going to be possible. Now, it does mean that this intersection is going to be slightly askew, which is fine. That comes out to about there, which I don't mind. I don't necessarily know if I want to... do I want to do this? Do I want to just sort of continue the same pattern the entire way down there? I'm not too sure. This end of things, though, is looking pretty good. Don't mind that at all. I do wonder if we could maybe get rid of the traffic lights and maybe do some priority signs instead, because that's a lot of little junctions all very, very close to each other, and I know that that is going to be its own little problem here. So if we were to go into traffic and go to the priorities tool and select this junction, I want the priority to be here and just all of these guys, and then yielding will be these roads on the sides, which is exactly how it should be. So you guys get priority right through there, and you guys are going to be yielding, which is what you're doing. That should be fine. Okay, so while I do really like how this is coming together, I do think it might be an idea to just move this compact bus depot again, which I know this thing's been moved a lot, but I think putting it right there is going to be a little bit better. And I think going ahead and maybe doing just a little, I don't know if an alley is the right road for this, but just to about there and then flipping this around so that it's still kind of on like a dedicated road within the Blackwater Transit Authority. I just think that's a better idea. I will need to go through and just delete some of the lights that we have in here because they're ever so slightly in the highway. If I could, why can't I grab those? It just, there's what I'm looking for. Get rid of you. That one, I guess, technically isn't in the highway. This one definitely is. This one definitely is. And I think that looks a little better. I also kind of do think that maybe giving this guy just a regular... Wait, can I just put that... Oh. Okay. That changes things a little bit. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's just do a road. Let's just bring that straight through. There we go. Yeah. No need to, just keep things simple, I guess. That's all we're gonna do here is keep things nice and simple. So we'll just do this, basically. Let's just get that to be a nice corner building right there, and that's gonna look absolutely fantastic. And this area is just gonna be sort of surrounded in paths and trees and all that good stuff. I did go ahead and sort of manually place these corner buildings. They wouldn't be here by default. And obviously, you know, we're kind of just opening this up to what is ultimately a highway right here. I'm not super concerned about that because I think I can make this look at least interesting. Not pretty, I will say. It's not it's not gonna look pretty, but it's gonna look interesting, and that's almost as good. Yeah. It's almost as good. It's fine. What I think I'd like to do is just try and bring a little wooden fence sort of down through here. I'm gonna have to just really try to freehand this, and that is not gonna be a fun process at all, but I'm determined. I think that's actually okay. And then this is just gonna run, oh, that was a really fast moving train. This is gonna run to about, I wanna say here, and that should be fine because we start to open up to the sidewalk here, although it might not be the worst idea in the world to just bring this down a little further. I think I'm gonna just give up on trying to curve this, and I'm just gonna do it segment by segment, since that's, I mean, it's wood, right? It's technically gonna be segment by segment anyway, so I think that looks fine. I think that's all right. What I would like to do, though, is get some paths in here. I want to let people, you know, walk around this whole space. That's kind of the idea behind doing this this little area here. I want to turn it into like a little almost like plaza thing. I think that could be kind of cool. I also think it could be kind of neat to, you know, let people kind of walk down this way towards this really busy road, if that's a thing that they happen to want to do. Okay, so we have a bit of the detailing done around this Netherlands-styled. I don't want to call it a Netherlands-style district because I haven't really looked at the style of sort of building layouts and road layouts in the Netherlands, so I don't want to. It's got the building style. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I've put some trees around it. I've put some hedges around it. I've put some bushes around it. But I kind of want to do another little something down at the far end of this thing because I think we need a little bit more density still, especially when you consider just how many businesses do not have enough customers right now and the fact that we have a huge amount of residential demand across the board. So I want to come down to this space and figure out a way to fill it in a little bit. And I've been considering flicking through here and seeing if I can find any decent apartment buildings, any decent medium-sized apartment buildings that we could play with. I don't really have anything in mind that I'm looking for specifically. Just something that'll kind of fit in here and look neat is about the gist of it. That's kind of where I'm at. So something like this, honestly, is not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't look awful, honestly. It really doesn't. This is probably a little bit too tall for this end of town, all things considered. This as well, I mean, I say that, I mean, it's a bit tall, but it's also kind of maybe the right type of building to put in here. It's going right next to a highway and a train line, so maybe something like that would be the right choice. I'm suddenly leaning towards these. I'm suddenly leaning towards maybe building a couple of these guys out here just to really fill in the space. Let me place 2 of them. What are we looking at here? 12 households? Okay. Do they look all right? No, they look silly. They do. They look a little bit silly. It might look better if we just do sort of the one building here, maybe the 4x4 one, or definitely not that one. Where there was one here that worked really nicely. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was this one was the one that worked quite nicely. It is, however, inside the train track. So let me just replace that very quickly. And what are we looking at here? 54 households. I think I can make that one work. I do. I think I can make it work. I'm wondering, can I change the color of it? I can change part of it. Can I change the main facade? I kind of like that yellow. I'm not going to lie, that yellow is striking. I think striking is definitely the word. I might not go for yellow. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of leaning towards trying to kind of have it match the general vibe of the Netherlands buildings. The only thing is this is so clearly not built out of bricks. So I might be better going with one of the UK style buildings, but we're gonna see what happens here. We're gonna see what I can, what kind of trouble I can cause. You know, I kind of think these buildings work pretty well. They are UK style apartments. I think having them staggered a little bit like this is kind of neat. I did do some custom surface stuff underneath them as well, just to sort of blend it into the space. And I want to do some details in there as well. But I like that a lot. I mean, yes, it is adding a couple of slightly taller buildings to a part of the city that otherwise doesn't have them, but we are most likely going to have some taller buildings out here anyway. So I think this is okay. I think this is fine. It's 44 households per building, which is great. It adds a bunch of people to this space. We will need to do some public transport links out here, but that is kind of, well, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do the public transport links now and potentially change them again later, or if I want to just gradually kind of do them as I go, or if I just want to wait until later and then do them. I think given how much traffic is liable to be in here, probably not a bad idea to do some public transport links, but I would like to just try and get a little something in here. I want to give the people that live here just some kind of little park or another for them to sit and enjoy, even if it is underneath a train line. That's it's, you know, I say enjoy. Enjoy is a strong word given the context, but you know, a little something like that You know, that gives us something in this space that will kind of give people a bit of attractiveness. It's nice and efficient. It's good. I still need to detail the rest of the space, but we're getting somewhere with this, I think. Okay, so while there is still so much to do with this space where Strawberry and Rhodes used to be, and while we haven't replaced the medical clinic or the graveyard yet, I really like how this space is looking. I'm really liking the two larger apartment buildings here at the front. I'm liking the little bus stop in front of them. I'm liking the little park in front of them. I'm liking the trees that are starting to enclose the space. I'm just really, really happy with this. And so I think it might be an idea to try and get some buses into some of this space. I'm not really too sure how to go about this, but I'm kind of thinking we could have a bus that sort of goes, do I want it to go that way? Does that seem a bit silly? It kind of does, but that also doesn't seem like the worst place in the world to have a bus stop. So I'm going to add a node right there, and I'm going to add a waypoint just in here as well, so that we can kind of have the bus stop in the middle of this district and also down by these apartment buildings. I think what we could even maybe do is just change out this road here to be some bus lanes so that it's kind of really locked in that this is purely for buses. That seems like it would be a good idea. We can take away the wide sidewalk on that side though, and we can just go ahead and do something like the architectural bus stop shelter. There is, I think, yeah, an EU bus stop shelter with bicycle stands. That seems like it would be a great idea. Just right about there. And then we can grab this guy, put him right there. And so now we have a bus that goes into that space. That seems pretty good as far as I'm concerned. I like that a lot. It goes down to these apartments as well. We do have this this blue line. Where does that blue line come from? So it's going, oh, it's coming like down and around. Okay. Do I maybe want to do a little something with the blue line? I'm sort of feeling like I might. I am thinking that there are some waypoints in here on this blue line that we could maybe get rid of though, just to sort of tidy it up a little bit. Get rid of this one as well. And then it just loops around here. So that's fine. I can work with that. Do we want to try and bring it in here is the question. That feels like it's way out of the way for that blue line. So let's bring it to here and see what it does. That actually feels a little bit more within the scope of that blue bus line. I don't need it to go up in here. I think that's honestly pretty much covered by the green line that weirdly snakes around that entire space. I like that. I do. As for not enough customers everywhere, that is still kind of an ongoing issue. I'm also noticing a lack of hearses in a few different places as well, which might be slightly influenced by the fact that I did get rid of a, oh no. I got rid of a lot of infrastructure, man. There's a lot that needs rebuilt in here, but this, I like this. I really do. Also, traffic over this way, still busy, but not as busy. And over here, same story, busy, but not as busy. Anyway, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, we're not going to be doing this entire rebuild process today, because that's going to do us for today. I think this is a good start. I think we've got a lot of the big steps out of the way, and that's mostly, you know, bulldozing half of Blackwater. And I will say that not everything I build is going to just be grids and zoning stuff and just letting it kind of build itself. I do want to do some detailing. I do want to do some, you know, plopped buildings and things like that. But I did also want to just kind of experiment with the Netherlands buildings because I have yet to do that. So this has been really fun. And I think this is the start of a new era for Blackwater, which I'm very excited about, and I hope you are as well. And again, I do really just want to stress that this is all unfinished. There is so much work to do around this train station, and obviously there is still so much room for activities in the rest of this space as well. And so while that is going to do us for today, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, any thoughts, concerns, whatever it might be for what we're doing here in Blackwater, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your ideas for what else we should build around here, what other themes we should go for, what, you know, what are the essential services, what is the function of these new districts? Are we going entertainment? Are we going waterfront? Are we going super low rent, high density? I would love to hear your thoughts again in the comments below, down there beneath the like button and the other one. Anyway, that's going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.